Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention now to the platform next to the winner's circle as we begin our red jacket ceremony. Here is New York Racing Association CEO and President Chris Kay.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're glad you're here. Today is our annual New York Showcase Day featuring 6 stakes races which shine a bright spotlight on the outstanding New York bred program led by Jeff Canizzo and the New York Thoroughbred breeders. And tomorrow is Travers Day, a true blockbuster day of racing with 7 graded stakes, the highlight being the 149th running of the Run Happy Travers. It will be a spectacular day, both in terms of the racing, the entertainment, the hospitality, and thankfully also the weather. Making this weekend even more special is the reason that we are here today, our red jacket ceremony and the induction of one of horse racing's finest people into the Walk of Fame. The Walk of Fame, which is located just outside our clubhouse, across from the 4-Star Dave Sports Bar, honors and showcases the achievements of those who have made significant and successful contributions both to this beloved race course and to the sport of thoroughbred racing. It is a place where fans of all ages can learn, appreciate, and respect the accomplishments of the outstanding men and women of our sport, the select few who have been honored with the red jacket. At this time, I'd like to recognize several members of the Walk of Fame who are with us today. Jockeys Jerry Baylor and Angel Cordero Jr., and Ramon Dominguez. Trainer D. Wayne Lucas. And Bill Mott. Owner Cott Campbell. And our longtime track announcer, Tom Durkin. He's the winner. And now, please join me in welcoming our newest member of the Walk of Fame, 4-time Eclipse Award-winning trainer, Bob Baffert. Bob is only one of only 2 trainers in history to win multiple Triple Crowns. To many racing fans, Bob is one of the most recognizable faces in our sport, a worthy ambassador for horse racing, and one of the best trainers on the planet. Bob captured his first Triple Crown in 2015 with American Pharoah, ending a 37-year drought. Anyone who was at Belmont Park that day will never forget it. The electrifying moment that American Pharoah crossed the finish line and the incredible jubilant roar that lasted for almost 10 to 15 minutes and engulfed all of us in an incredible wave of excitement. And then this year, when Justify won the Triple Crown, it was another wonderful moment for our fans and for our sports. It was also Bob's 15th win in a Triple Crown race, the most in history. Bob's 11 Grade 1 victories here at Saratoga are highlighted by 3 Travers victories that included back-to-back triumphs, with Arrogate setting a course record in 2016. And West Coast won the Summers Marquee race in 2017, beating the winner of the Kentucky Derby that year, the winner of the Preakness that year, as well as the winner of the Belmont Stakes. I'd like you all now to please direct your attention to the video boards behind us and throughout the property as we look back at the career of Bob Baffert, our 2018 inductee into the Walk of Fame.
I just had a really great childhood. I got to play on the ranch. You know, we had cattle, we had chickens. There was, 7 children. We entertained ourselves because the television usually didn't work. And my father had a couple of mares. And my father got the bug. We had this one. He came off the racetrack. And I actually learned on Baffert's Heller. He came back, and he was sort of tough to ride. I used to ride the school bus thinking, I'm going to go ride him. Today's the day. I'm going to break him with this habit. He tried to buck, and then I just rode him through it. And the next thing you know it, he was fine, and we went everywhere. I just learned a lot from that horse. My mother didn't know what was going on because she'd tell my father. She was always nervous about me trying to be a jockey. I wanted to be a jockey. Really learned from the ground up about horses. Just learned through trial and error, mostly error, and I really never worked for anybody, so I just learned as I came up.
Bob Baffert rode quarter horses for the thrill of it. The part-time gig lasted 2 summers. Long-term, he hoped to become a successful quarter horse trainer after graduating from the University of Arizona. In 1978, Baffert went out on his own, and in 1983, he moved his barn to Southern California and stabled at Los Alamitos. He would train 4 champions, including Gold Coast Express. His success would draw the attention of owner Mike Pegram, who would persuade a reluctant Baffert to shift his focus to training thoroughbreds full-time.
And I knew a lot of people were watching, like, is this guy going to make the transition? And Lucas had sort of paved the way for us. It didn't start out too smooth. It was a long journey, but I gave it 3 years. 30 Sloughs was my first thoroughbred I bought as a yearling.
30 Sloughs surges to victory! 30 Sloughs would just be the beginning. In just 6 years' time, Baffert would become horse racing's most recognizable face.
Got a lot of camera crews out here, Bob. You'll probably see it in the evening.
He'd win the Kentucky Derby and Preakness in 1997 and 98, only to experience double heartbreak chasing the crown in the Belmont. Yet Baffert wouldn't saddle his first horse at Saratoga until the summer of 1999.
I mean, you walk into Saratoga, it's a different feeling. It's like walking into the old Yankee Stadium. I mean, there's so much history. You see that big grandstand, the old wooden, it's like an old roller coaster ride from back in the day. You go back in time when you go there, and the fans are just unbelievable fans. I mean, every day they're lined up at 9 o'clock in the morning to get in. I was a little bit intimidated by Saratoga. The first thing you hear is it's the graveyard of champions. That's enough to steer somebody away. I didn't want to go there unless I had a really good horse, and we had Silver Bullet Day.
Look at this filly go. She is leaving them in her wake. This is indeed a super filly.
The championships, they're won at Saratoga. And once she got it, I thought, okay, we can do this.
Baffert was just getting started, and that included Saratoga, where his Grade 1 victories played like a greatest hits album.
And Forestry has a hard-earned decision here. Midnight Luke wins the Forego Indian Blessing. The champion filly was super.
Trayfong rolls home in the King's Bishop.
They hit the wire. Abel Tasman has won it by a head.
Winning the Travers is just unbelievable feeling, because that is the race at Saratoga.
Point Given pulling away to win, and no doubt about it, the king of the 3-year-olds.
We whiffed the Derby. Taking him to Saratoga and winning the Travers just showed he was the real goods.
They've left the field railing behind Arrowgate. What a commanding performance. He won the Travers by 12.
And then Mike Smith came back and said, "Oh, you guys are right. He can really run." I said, "Yeah." I said, "What are you doing winning by 10?
And West Coast goes wire to wire in the Travers.
The buzz Baffert creates these days is that of a living legend, after giving racing fans what they crave most, the Triple Crown. Not once, but twice.
The 37-year wait is over. American Pharoah is finally the one.
After American Pharoah, when he retired, first time I really had an empty feeling. What's next? Here comes Arrowgate. Boy, he just put the spring back in her step, and then here comes Justify.
Justify is the 13th Triple Crown winner.
Gives me more drive. I've had more drive probably the last 3 years than I've ever had.
Even in defeat, American Pharoah and Saratoga showed Baffert the magical powers of a super horse.
I'll never forget, the town was just insane. Saratoga, there was like 15,000 people came out to see him gallop. The stands were packed, and it was so overwhelming for me. I was like, that's the first time, like, wow. Every groom left their horses grooming to go watch him to gallop. I'm telling you what, if they would have run the race that day, no way he was going to lose. To me, when I go to Saratoga, it's like a working vacation. You know, it's nice to know that I've made that kind of impact in Saratoga. Honor like this, being Walk of Fame, because I remember when they first had it, I was watching and go, wow, that is really something. Couldn't have done it with all those great horses and the great team that I have. And, you know, to put on the red jacket, the only thing missing is the green jacket.
Here today as Bob's presenter is D. Wayne Lucas, who, like Bob, is a 4-time Eclipse Award winner. Wayne has won 14 Triple Crown races, 20 Breeders' Cup races, and will be attempting to capture his 4th Travers tomorrow with Bravazzo. Wayne, Bob, and a handful of other top trainers form a special fraternity. Good friends off the track, they're fueled by a competitive spirit which kicks in once the gates open. And when they win, which is often, they're the first to credit the horse, the assistant trainers, and the connections, everybody but themselves, for their success. They bring great pleasure to our fans, and they bring real professionalism to our sport. Please join me in welcoming Wayne Lucas to introduce our Red Jacket recipient, Bob Baffert.
I was sitting next to the Triple Crown trophy there, and I said to Chris, I want one of those. That's as close as I've ever been. Bob, it's a great pleasure to welcome you to the Red Jacket Hall of Fame. Our fraternity, as you can see, is very small. We've got a select group, but they have had a tremendous impact, every one of them, on the sport of thoroughbred racing. The 4 jockeys that are in, Angel Cordero, Jerry Bailey, Juan, and Johnny Velasquez, have set a new standard for jockeys worldwide with their ability and the way that they conduct themselves in the sport. We got trainers that have been representing and helping you to get back some of the money that you bet every day. Most of it's Bill Mott, but they have also represented our sport in a great way. We got Scott Campbell, who had the visionary to set up ownership so many people could enjoy this wonderful sport. And then Mary Lou Whitney, who covers all the bases in our sport from top to bottom with her generosity. Ogden Denny Phipps, who led in the Jockey Club all those years with great wisdom and great ability. Today, we got another one to put in, Bob Baffert. Now, Bob is unique, and you've seen all the credits, but I want to share some things with you. The thing that makes Bob unique and deserving of such a high honor is that he has covered all the bases in the sport. There's trainers, there's owners, there's jockeys that are very, very good at one thing. Bob has developed a great national presence and a great national fan base. Unlike many trainers, he has been greatly influenced by the sales. He has gone into the sales ring, bought high-priced horses, bought high-powered owners into the game, and then made the most of it and made them satisfied and very successful. Besides that, he has affected the breeding industry because so many of his sires that he has trained are now producing foals across the country. But one thing to me as a fellow trainer and friend that stands out about Bob is this. Do you realize he has won 2 Triple Crowns? He's got 2 of these. But a nose, a head, and a length separated him from having 5 Triple Crown winners in a short period of time. Now stop and think about that. On 5 occasions, he was right at the threshold of pulling that off. That is an incredible feat in so many ways. Bob, I don't know if we can go on, but we're really proud to have you in this fraternity. I know the fans are anxious to hear what you've got to say, but you're an amazing trainer. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the best trainer in the world, Bob Baffert.
Wayne's always a tough act to follow. Thank you, Wayne, for those kind words. You don't know what an honor it is to be here today, especially when I look here and see all the fans. That's one thing about Saratoga. The fan base is unbelievable, and I'm always overwhelmed when I come here. First, let me thank those responsible for getting me here. You know their names: American Pharaoh, Justify, Arrowgate, Point Given, Silver Bullet Day, Abel Tasman, Midnight Loot, Forestry, and West Coast. And Chris, I don't know why I'd be in a hurry to change the colors in that canoe, because the Gary Mary West pink and black look pretty incredible out there. That's one of the biggest things about winning the. Oh, am I done? No. Oh. So it's one of those things, and without the great jockeys here we have today, Jerry Bailey, who gave me my first grade 1 here on Silver Bullet Day. Thank you, Jerry. We had Gary Stevens, Victor Espinoza, Mike Smith. I mean, all the great jockeys that I've had here. I can't name them all. And also, it wouldn't have been possible without the support of my family, my brothers and sisters, my kids, especially my beautiful wife, Jill. Where's Jill? Who, without her, you know, as a trainer, we've all go through tough times, and when I'm feeling a little down, there is no surrender with Jill. She keeps me up there and keeps me going. And also the great work by the tireless workers in my barn over the years, and especially, you know, Jimmy Barnes is here today. Where's Jimmy? And also Tanya and John Terranova, who they are my New York connection. They've been so important through the years. John and Tanya, they take care of my horses here. I'm an Arizona bred. As a kid, I knew quarter horse tracks you've never heard of, like Sonoyta, Arizona, Relito Downs. My big dream was maybe to make it at Los Alamitos or winning the All-American Fraternity at Rio Doso, New Mexico. The guy I wanted to be like back then was another quarter horse trainer, the best quarter horse trainer, an ex-basketball coach from Wisconsin named Dwayne Lucas. I remember the first time I saw Lucas. He pulled into Sonoyta, Arizona, this dusty track out in the middle of nowhere with his shiny chrome trailers, and he came in there and just won everything that day. And Wayne was never really my mentor. That position always belonged to my father, Bill Baffert Sr. We called him the chief, who had a passion for horses, luckily, that got me into it. But Wayne was my role model. And when he made the transition to thoroughbred and started winning at places like Santa Anita, Churchill, Belmont, Saratoga, I knew that was something I could do. His successes gave me confidence to give it a try. Of course, I never dreamed that one day I would be standing here being honored in the same place and in the same way as Wayne was. So I want to thank Dwayne Lucas for being my inspiration. I also want you to know how honored I am to be included in such an important company with all these great, important people behind me, especially Tom Durkin, who made my horses sound so much better and faster than they really were. I also want to thank Chris Kay and Martin Panza, not just for the honor of being inducted into the Saratoga Walk of Fame, but also for the great work they have done stabilizing, improving, and restoring the greatness of NYRA. Even out in California, we recognize what a terrific job you have been doing here the last few years for raising and for it to thrive and grow. The sport has to be healthy in New York, California, Kentucky, and Florida. If we lead the way, the rest of the sport will follow along and grow with us. So thank you for always being such a welcoming host to me, my family, my staff, and most importantly, my horses. And thank you very much for this honor. You know, and I want to also say, when I brought American Pharoah here, even though he got beat, the day before, you know, watching him come out and gallop, the fans, it was so overwhelming. I will never forget. It was a memorable day that day that just, it made it so, that's when I realized how important it was, you know, to be in horse racing. You made me feel so well. The Saratoga, Pharoah-toga, whatever you want to call it, was incredible. I want to apologize again for getting a beat that day. But you know, when I'm standing over a 10-foot putt back at home, I sometimes imagine it is to win the Masters and take home the green jacket. That ain't never going to happen, but this red jacket is even more meaningful because it represents the pinnacle in the sport I love and dedicated my life to. Thank you. Thank you.
And now, Bob, if you'll join me, we will unveil your plaque. Thank you all for coming. This ends our program.